the station working for you. This is WRTV News at 11, streaming now.
Sadly, I was not surprised. I'm very hurt, but I wasn't surprised because, I know where we live at.
New at 11, family members speak after a grand jury declined to indict an IMPD officer in a deadly shooting. We've been following the decision in the DREASJON Reed case since the news at 5 when the special prosecutor made the announcement.
An IMPD officer shot and killed Reed during a chase on the north side back in May. Again, the grand jury declined to indict the officer, citing insufficient evidence. We have team coverage tonight on how that decision was reached and how the city and community are reacting. We start with WRTV's Cornelius HOCKER live in downtown Indianapolis. Cornelius, DREASJON Reed's sister spoke tonight.
She did, Mark, and as you know and probably expected, she was very upset with the decision to not charge the officer who shot and killed her brother, DREASJON. Community members, some of them are also upset as well, and right now it is pretty quiet, but earlier today, protesters were out here making their voices heard. After gathering at Monument Park, the group walked throughout downtown, stopping traffic at some of the major intersections. DREASJON Reed's sister spoke to WRTV during the demonstration. She shared her reaction to the grand jury's decision and a message for those who are speaking out in her brother's name.
There was no justice served. My brother is not resting well. There's no way. So now we got to go on every day. I got to have my son. We got to go on every day with life. My brother can't, see his nephew coming into this world. He can't enjoy his niece anymore, his mother, his father, his other two sisters. To the community, just keep fighting for my brother, your family, everybody.
Now, despite some concerns from downtown business owners, the demonstrations did remain peaceful. Mark?
Now, Cornelius, you did talk to some of the demonstrators, and even though this case is over, are there any other plans for demonstrations in the future? Have you heard of any future plans?
Yeah, I did talk to some of the people that were out here, and they plan to be back out here again tomorrow. So, of course, we're going to be staying on top of this story and giving you all the information that we have whenever they're out here. And I want to comment on something. People were blocking the intersections around here, but police weren't really interfering. They were probably at most a block away, maybe a block and a half away, trying to keep the peace, make sure things went smoothly. But yeah, they didn't interfere with the protesters who were marching around, which I thought was surprising, but welcomed by many. Mark?
All right, our Cornelius HOCKER live for us tonight downtown, who was in the middle of the demonstrations tonight. Thank you, Cornelius.
And while relatives and some community members believe justice was not served in the Reed case, investigators disagree, and they publicly shared a lot of the evidence from the case at a live news conference this afternoon. WRTV's Cameron Riddle continues our team coverage tonight.
The task of announcing that no charges would be filed against IMPD officer DeJour Mercer was a visibly difficult duty for Special Prosecutor Rosemary Curry.
This has not been an easy task, and it's been a very heavy burden.
6 months after the shooting, a grand jury ruled that there was insufficient evidence to prove that Officer Mercer violated the law when he shot and killed Reed in an incident that was streamed live on Facebook. State Police Superintendent Doug Carter says the special investigation was not taken lightly.
Please understand, please understand that our role is the objective finder of fact. We didn't pick a side, and we will never pick a side.
Investigators with the Indiana State Police showed the Indianapolis Press material from their investigation that they say is factual, but not necessarily the same material that the grand jury reviewed when considering whether to indict Officer Mercer. Seen publicly for the first time today are clear pictures of Reed's gun with its distinct markings, in addition to new surveillance footage that shows how close Mercer and Reed were to each other, but doesn't clearly show what happens after the two run across Michigan Road. State police point to audio data which they say captures the sound of 13 gunshots from Officer Mercer and 2 from Reed, which were also matched to ballistics tests.
So each one of these is a shot fired, and roughly these are about 0.4 of a second apart.
While the evidence presented paints the clearest picture thus far of what happened on May 6th, it was not enough for the grand jury to bring charges. Special Prosecutor Curry says there is no win in this case, and the pain that comes with this tragic incident hits close to home.
I'm a mother of 2 black boys. And I know thank you. I don't know how Mr. Reed's mother feels, but I'm a mother of 2 black boys.
Cameron Riddle, WRTV.
An attorney for Officer Mercer released a statement tonight saying, in part, quote, "We've always believed the evidence proved that Mercer was justified in defending himself. The evidence showed that he took actions consistent with his training and, more importantly, consistent with the law."
Metro Police and Indianapolis Mayor Joe Hogsett have also released statements on the decision. IMPD thanks the prosecutor, investigators, and the grand jury members for, quote, "ensuring a fair and just investigative process and a transparent outcome." The statement goes on to say, quote, "We understand that this result may be frustrating for some of our residents, but it is our hope that the full transparency offered by Prosecutor Corey and Superintendent Carter will help move our city forward, improve the relationship between our officers and neighborhoods, and bring us closer to healing and division of our community." Mayor Hogsett released a statement saying, in part, quote, "The events that led to the death of Mr. Reed have forced our community to confront the loss of this young life and have raised understandable questions produced by centuries of racism and mistrust. The decision ends the criminal review of the interaction, but it doesn't heal the divides in our community caused by a heartbreaking incident such as this." Hogsett also thanked members of the community who have advocated for law enforcement changes in the wake of Reed's death. That includes the implementation of body cameras for IMPD and the creation of a use of force review board. You can read more reactions from community leaders and about today's grand jury decision right now at WRTV.com.
Now to the forecast. Some people are seeing wet weather at this hour. WRTV Chief Meteorologist Kevin Gregory is also tracking cooler temperatures that everyone across central Indiana will definitely feel, Kevin.
Definitely 25 degrees colder during the day tomorrow. We've been living on borrowed time with temperatures in the upper 70s again today, but that changes back to reality tomorrow. The rain gradually ends while you sleep. And just to show you, rock bottom temperatures don't hit until Thursday. That's when we'll be back into the 30s for overnight lows. Western Indiana in the upper 50s. Lafayette and Terre Haute, 66 in Indianapolis right now. Temperatures tomorrow morning as the rain showers come to an end. It's this line cutting from Marion through Indy to Bloomington that's the wind shift. And it will come out of the west-northwest and drop the temperatures. Showers slowly fading as we go through the night. And this is what you wake up to. Temperature first thing in the morning, mid-40s, and we warm up very slowly from there.
Indiana officials are scheduled to give their weekly briefing on the pandemic tomorrow. COVID cases continue to spike across the state with no sign of improving. Today, the State Department of Health reported 4,879 new cases between Friday and yesterday. Statewide hospitalizations are now at 2,336. The 7-day positivity rate among unique individuals is 19.2%. Anyone who works or lives in Indiana can get a COVID test for free. For more info, go to WRTV.com and click on this story.
The president of the Indiana Hospital Association says COVID hospitalizations in this state have increased by 143% since October 1st. One way the state is addressing this issue is by asking retired healthcare workers to return to the job. We spoke to a doctor about the request. Dr. Jarrett Manning says most people in the healthcare field will go above and beyond the call of duty to help, but she's frustrated it has come to this.
It's ridiculous that people are being asked to come out of retirement to get back into the field. They should be enjoying retirement. People are passionate to be in the fields that we're in. Nurses, all healthcare workers, doctors, we're passionate because our priority is to give. We're giving, we're serving the people. So yeah, a lot of them, most of them don't mind actually having to come back and give back. But I really hate to see them being asked to do that.
The Indiana Hospital Association says many hospitals are reporting staff shortages as the pandemic continues. IU Health is hosting a virtual hiring event to fill hundreds of open and critical positions. It continues tomorrow. For more information, go to hiringhoosiers.com.
A former Tri-West High School principal will apologize to one of his former students after admitting he failed to properly report allegations of suspected child abuse. Adam Benner reached a pretrial diversion agreement with prosecutors on November 6th. He admitted to one misdemeanor charge of failure to make a report. The charges against Benner stem from the Tyler Bruce case, the former Tri-West teacher and coach who is now charged with child seduction. Court records show Benner knew about allegations involving Bruce and a then 16-year-old student. Rather than reporting it to police or the Department of Child Services, Benner told other administrators that any further information regarding Bruce and the student should be sent directly to Benner. As part of the agreement, Benner must send an apology letter to the victim, who is now 18 years old.
Instead, use your time to go teach another teacher, administrator, someone in another school system to prevent it from happening to someone else. That would be a real apology.
Adam Benner resigned from Tri-West in June of last year. As part of the one-year agreement, Benner must also not commit any criminal offenses, promptly respond to all telephone calls and letters from the prosecutor's office, pay court fees and costs, and must work to find suitable employment. If he meets the requirements, after a year, prosecutors will dismiss the criminal case against Benner. Benner's teaching license is suspended until February 2021. His administrator's license is suspended until February of 2022. We reached out to the Hendricks County prosecutor and Benner's attorney. We are still waiting on responses. Tyler Bruce denies the allegations against him. His child seduction trial is scheduled for February.
Coming up in WRTV, investigators hope newly released video of an arson fire in Indianapolis will lead to information from the community.
Would you buy a home without ever stepping foot in it first? Coming up, how the real estate industry is making this growing trend work.
And WRTV is your home for the 54th annual CMA Awards. Reba McEntire and Darius Rucker will host that show live from the Music City Center in Nashville, Tennessee. That's tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, only on WRTV.
Home surveillance shows a person on camera outside of a home on the north side of Indianapolis as it caught fire. Saturday's fire on East 91st Street near Westfield Boulevard has been ruled an arson. The person in the video is not seen clearly, but investigators hope it leads to information. IFD says the homeowners and their pets evacuated before the fire got inside the home. This is video from the owners before they escaped. If you have information, call Crime Stoppers at 317-262-TIPS.
An organization that feeds thousands of people every Thanksgiving now needs your help this holiday season. The Moselle Sanders Foundation is looking for restaurants and schools that can open their kitchens to help prepare and warm up Thanksgiving dinners. The organization normally uses the kitchen at Butler, but it shut down due to the pandemic. The foundation is also asking for donations and volunteers. For more information, go to WRTV.com and click on this story. WRTV is preparing for Christmas. Our annual toy drive kicks off on Saturday at Christmas Nights of Lights at the Indiana State Fairgrounds. The holiday display is a drive-through format. $1 for every ticket sold on Saturday will go to the WRTV toy drive.
The newest baby at the Indianapolis Zoo is already 6 feet tall. Today, the zoo announced the birth of a giraffe. The male calf and his mom are doing well. Giraffe pregnancies last 14 months, and they give birth standing up. The zoo's herd is now up to 5 members. The new family is expected to make its debut in the spring. The zoo plans to hold a public naming contest on social media in the near future. I always love seeing the names that come out.
Aw, that's how you react to that picture right there.
So sweet. And that mama, I hope she gets some rest after that. 14 months.
Get mama.
6 feet tall and what, maybe 200 pounds? That's the way you start life? How about
hey, starting strong.
Isn't that where you started, Kathleen?
I'm trying to return to that is what I'm trying to do. Last 3 days, 3 in a row, we've had record temperatures. 79 Sunday, Monday, 1 degree cooler, and today 77. There will not be a 4th day in a row with record temperatures. If it looks a little blurry, that's because we've got some rain here downtown right now. As the cold front is actually going through, we'll see a good 10 to 15 degree drop in the next hour as the cold front moves through. 66 in Indianapolis, 57 in Terre Haute and Lafayette. Other temperatures in the metro area hanging in there, false confidence, but we'll all land in the low 40s to upper 30s to the north and west tomorrow morning. Pretty sharp dividing line. Pretty easy to see where the coldest temperatures are. It's 17 in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, 29 in Minneapolis. The warm air will be pushed out of the state for a while. This is the front generating the showers. We had some gusty winds here downtown as the front moved through, changing the wind direction, allowing the colder air to come in. Still, the peak gust for Indianapolis is at 40 miles per hour, non-thunderstorm winds. Well, we had one line fade away, the next line coming through Bloomington, the southeast side of Indy now, through Anderson and eventually Muncie and Hartford City. That's the actual cold front. Behind that, temperatures fall, but the showers will likely continue. You'll hear the howl of the winds. Those will begin to calm down as we get into the morning hours tomorrow. Temperatures will be coldest Lafayette, Frankfort, Delphi, Monticello, Logansport, and Peru, about 38 degrees. You'll wake up in the morning with temperatures clinging to around 50 in Richmond down to Columbus. But the thing for tomorrow to remember is we just really don't warm up much. Next 3 days, we talked about the last 3, middle to upper 70s. The next 3, we're lucky to hit 50 at times. That will be Friday, our coolest day. It's a northwest wind tomorrow. It won't be as strong as today, but it will feel cold, that's for sure. Temperatures struggle from north to south. A couple spots as you get toward Peru may not hit 50 degrees. Thursday, we've got sunshine to go with the cooler temperatures. That always helps. Should be mid-50s. And as we look, other temperatures about average for this time of the year. As we go to the weekend, we'll hit 62 Sunday. As the temperature peaks, our rain chances go up first starting Saturday night, and then on Sunday, 62. Monday back into the 50s, and that's where we'll be on Tuesday. As you fall off to sleep tonight, a few showers around, the wind still noticeable. You hear that at times. Any rain threat or strong storm threat has ended. Temperatures as you go through the next several days, all in the 50s through Saturday. 62, that's our new warmest temperature in the 7-day forecast. Mark?
The reality sets in. Thanks, Kevin. The pandemic is forcing many local food producers to change the way they operate. With the organization Indiana Grown, WRTV is looking at how a small Johnson County farm is reworking its business model. Heirloom Acres is a produce farm that uses organic practices. It's just down the street from Center Grove High School. The owner, David Sims, says that he and his wife started the farm 6 years ago as a wholesale farm supplying fresh goods to area residents. When COVID-19 struck and restaurants were forced to close, they were able to pivot quickly. The farm utilized an online platform and did pick up events at Taxman and Sun King to sell directly to consumers. Heirloom Acres also took part in local farmers markets for the first time. Sims says during this time he noticed people have a heightened awareness of where the food is coming from. That's something he can use to support his business.
Purchasing organically grown, nutrient-dense produce in particular carries a much higher value than what it ever has.
For more information about Heirloom Acres and where you can find their local products, visit WRTV.com/rebound. And stay tuned tomorrow as we move from a local producer to a local distributor. How Piazza Produce moves our food from farm to table in a new way.
The pandemic is also changing the way people buy and sell homes. Scripps reporter Jessica Paris explains a new trend in the real estate industry.
We found ourselves in a really interesting situation, right, with coronavirus and also dealing with a super low inventory across the country.
David Lewis is a realtor in the Atlanta area. He says for those who are relocating, COVID wariness may prevent potential buyers from seeing a property in person. Plus, traveling can be difficult right now.
A lot of times, some of them we're videoing the home for them, and some of them are just looking at the pictures and submitting blind offers and just, hoping, trusting us to give them a little bit of guidance and also making sure that the inspections and everything are in line to kind of offer that level of protection.
Experts say when buying virtually, a good home inspection is a must.
Do you think an inspection will catch most everything that could be wrong with the house?
It should catch most everything. Now, remember, the general home inspection is a visual inspection. We're not allowed to take siding off the house. We see trim damage. That's what we see. We can't take and look at the substrate or look at underneath in between that wall.
Donnie Williams is the Director of Business Development and Marketing for All Atlanta Amerispec. Overall, he doesn't recommend buying a home without going inside it first, but he and many other inspectors at his company are seeing it more often now.
I was actually surprised the number of times that had actually happened. The guys could remember 7 to 15 each. You times that by, 18 guys, that's a lot.
Before the pandemic, Williams says he rarely would see people purchase homes sight unseen. But as long as coronavirus is a concern, home buying virtually could be here to stay. Just know that if you are thinking of buying a home this way, there are things a realtor won't be able to fully give their opinions on, like the neighborhood.
That's something that always is largely on the purchaser anyways. There's several laws and regulations around like what a real estate professional can share and information they can give on a neighborhood. So a lot of times that's always left up to the consumer anyways, right? To get a good feel for the neighborhood or understand the dynamics of the neighborhood or the schools and the surrounding area.
Overall, make sure before you swipe right to buy a home, meet it first, if at all possible. Having a realtor and inspector you trust is key, though what they won't be able to help you with is if the house feels like your home. I'm Jessica Paris reporting.
Tonight marks 3 days since ABC News and many other news organizations projected Joe Biden president-elect. But as ABC's Rena Roy reports, President Trump, some cabinet members and Republican lawmakers are trying to ignore and even fight the results.
President-elect Joe Biden charging forward with his transition into the nation's highest office as President Trump refuses to concede.
I just think it's an embarrassment, quite frankly.
President Trump hasn't made a public appearance since last Thursday, instead firing off a series of defiant tweets, still insisting, quote, "We will win." Trump's campaign filing long-shot lawsuits, nearly all of which have been thrown out in court with no evidence of widespread voter fraud. The stunning comment from Secretary of State Mike Pompeo.
There will be a smooth transition to a second Trump administration.
Most Republicans in Congress also reinforcing the baseless narrative.
Have you congratulated Vice President Biden yet? Why not?
Attorney General Bill Barr also going against long-standing government policy, authorizing investigations into the election even before the results are certified by states. Meantime, Biden keeping busy, focusing on the coronavirus pandemic, economy, and the future of the Affordable Care Act. Also taking congratulatory phone calls from world leaders.
I wanted really to congratulate you and congratulate Kamala Harris for this election.
Biden's message to them:
I'm letting them know that America's back.
The General Services Administration, which facilitates the transfer of power, has still not recognized Biden as the winner. But the president-elect says he will still have all he needs to transition, even without the agency's help. Rena Roy, ABC News, Wilmington, Delaware.
And a line of briefly heavy rain from Greenwood on up toward Anderson. That's moving to the east along the cold front everywhere in the western half of the state. Temperatures falling. They're steady in eastern Indiana for now, but much colder tomorrow, guys.
All right. Thank you, Kevin. Thanks for joining us for WRTV News at 11. GMI headed your way at 4:30 tomorrow. Have a good night.